Let's be real, women appreciate money. Security matters, stability matters. But if you've been around long enough, you start noticing a strange pattern. Some guys throw money around, pay for the trips, show off the cars, and still get ghosted. Meanwhile, some guy with average looks and a half-decent apartment has her completely obsessed. Why? Because while money can open a door, it's not what makes her stay. And deep down, every woman knows it. The truth is, there are things she craves on a soul level. Things she may not even admit to herself, that run far deeper than material comfort. And if you can tap into those, you become unforgettable. This video is not about tricks or manipulation. It's about understanding what truly moves a woman. What lights her up, what makes her lean in instead of pull away. These are the cravings she'll never say out loud at brunch with her girlfriends, but they show up in the choices she makes. And once you understand what they are, it changes the entire game. You stop chasing approval or trying to impress, and you start becoming the kind of man who naturally draws her in. So if you're tired of being the guy who does everything right, but still ends up in the friend zone or blindsided by a breakup, stay with me, because we're about to get honest about the 6 things women crave. More than money, and trust me, once you see them, you can't unsee them. 1. Emotional safety. Not just nice guy vibes. One of the deepest things a woman craves and rarely admits out loud is emotional safety. And no, that doesn't just mean being nice to her or agreeing with everything she says. A lot of guys fall into the nice guy trap, thinking if they just listen, validate, and avoid conflict, she'll feel safe and stay close. But real emotional safety goes much deeper than that. It's not about being passive, it's about being grounded. It's about being able to hold space. When she's feeling something intense, whether it's sadness, anger, or anxiety, without needing to fix it, shut it down, or take it personally. She wants to feel like she can bring all of herself, her messy emotions, her doubts, her intensity, and not have you flinch. This kind of safety is rare because it requires a man to be emotionally mature. A man who doesn't spiral when she's upset, who doesn't jump into defensive mode, who doesn't collapse the moment things feel a little heavy. Women crave that type of steadiness even more than they crave support. Because support is what you do. But emotional safety is who you are in the moment. According to psychology studies on attachment and regulation, people, especially those with anxious tendencies, are drawn to partners who can co-regulate emotions with calm presence. That doesn't mean you have to be a therapist. It just means you're able to say, "I'm here, I'm not judging you. We'll get through this." That kind of response hits harder than flowers, gifts, or any amount of money ever could. Here's the part most men miss. You don't have to fully understand what she's feeling. You just have to be steady while she feels it. Emotional safety isn't about having the right words. It's about not making her emotions about you. If she's crying, don't panic. If she's upset, don't go straight into fixing mode. Just be present, breathe with her. Maybe say, "I can tell this matters to you. I'm listening." That one sentence alone creates more intimacy than 10 romantic dates. Because in a world where most people shut down, distract, or gaslight, the man who can hold space becomes magnetic. She might never say, "I need emotional safety," but watch how deeply she bonds when she finally feels it. to attention that feels personal, not transactional. Here's something women will never say outright, but it shapes almost every romantic decision they make. They don't just want attention, they want personalized attention, not the copy-paste compliments, not the heart eyes emojis on every selfie, not the "you're so sexy" that's been used on 5 other girls this week. That kind of attention is cheap. It's everywhere, and because it's everywhere, it means nothing what she craves. And I mean deeply craves is attention that's attuned, that feels like it's just for her because you actually noticed her. Beyond the obvious, it's not about always praising her looks. It's about noticing the small shift in her mood, the way she plays with her necklace when she's anxious, the way her voice softens when she talks about something that matters to her. That's the kind of attention that hits different. When you give her that kind of presence, her nervous system actually responds. Research in neuroscience shows that oxytocin, the bonding hormone, spikes when someone feels uniquely seen and emotionally safe. And guess what? That hormone has more staying power in her brain than dopamine from a compliment or a gift. That's why you'll see women become emotionally hooked on guys who aren't even the best looking, because those guys knew how to see her, not just look at her. And here's the key. It's not about performing or trying hard. It's about slowing down enough to actually observe her. If she mentions her favorite book in passing and you bring it up, 3 days later she notices. If she changes her hair and you say, "You know that color brings out your eyes in a wild way," she feels it not because you said something slick, but because it proved you were really paying attention. The world is full of men giving out attention like samples at Costco, free, generic, and forgettable. But the man who notices the little details, the man who reflects something back to her that she didn't even know she wanted, seeing that man becomes memorable. Women are intuitive. They can feel when attention is given out of genuine curiosity versus when it's used like currency to try and get something in return. So if your attention feels like a transaction, "I compliment you, now give me validation," she'll pull away. But if your attention feels like presence, like you're with her in the moment just because you want to be, she won't just notice it, she'll crave it. 3 power dynamics that make her feel safe, not controlled. There's a power dynamic most guys never fully understand. The kind that makes a woman feel not just attracted, but safe enough to open up and relax into you. It's the difference between control and leadership. A lot of men either go too soft, constantly asking her what to do, trying to be ultra flexible and accommodating, or they swing to the other extreme, becoming rigid, bossy, and overbearing. Neither of those works. Because what she truly wants isn't a man who controls her. It's a man who knows how to lead. The kind of leadership that says, "I've got this," without stripping away her choice. And that balance that's rare, that's magnetic. It's the energy of grounded confidence where you're clear, decisive and intentional, but never disrespectful or domineering. Women are biologically wired to respond to strength. Not the aggressive kind, but the kind that provides direction and stability. Evolutionarily speaking, women sought out mates who could make decisions under pressure, who had a plan, who didn't freeze in uncertainty. That pattern hasn't disappeared. It's just gone underground in the modern dating world today. It shows up in how you handle small decisions. When you say, "Let's meet at this spot at 7," I think you'll love the vibe. But if you've got something else in mind, I'm open, boom. That's it, that one sentence contains both clarity and flexibility. It shows that you're thinking ahead, that you have a sense of direction, but you're not steamrolling her voice. That's leadership that's attractive. Where most men lose her is by thinking they either have to give up all their power to keep the peace or dominate to prove their masculinity. But true masculine energy holds space and holds frame. It means you can guide, suggest, and take initiative, while also leaving room for her to express herself and feel heard. It's about co-creating the experience. Not forcing it, a woman feels safe when she knows you're not going to crumble under pressure, but also that she's not going to be silenced. That sweet spot where she feels held, not handled, is where trust and desire both thrive. She may never say it outright, but when she finds a man who can lead with calm, strength, and emotional intelligence, she will follow that man anywhere, not because she's submissive, but because she feels safe to choose it for emotional challenge. Yes, she wants to work for it. Most guys are taught to be emotionally available, open and communicative, and while those are great traits, there's a limit, because if you hand over all your emotional cards too early, you rob a woman of something she's hardwired to want. The challenge of discovering you, emotional challenge, isn't about playing games or being distant for no reason. It's about pacing your vulnerability in a way that lets her earn deeper access to your world. Over time, when you meet someone and immediately unload your trauma, your past heartbreaks, and every insecurity you've ever had, it doesn't create connection. It creates pressure. It's too much too soon. And instead of drawing her in, it overwhelms her nervous system and shuts down attraction. The truth is, she wants to feel like she's getting to know you layer by layer, not all at once in a flood of self-disclosure. There's a beautiful tension in emotional restraint, not because you're hiding anything, but because you respect your own emotional energy enough to share it. With discernment, that kind of energy says, I'm emotionally open, but I don't need to spill everything to be liked. I don't need validation through vulnerability and that confidence. That's rare. It signals to her that you're secure in yourself, that your inner world has depth, but she's going to have to work a little to earn her way in. That challenge lights her up. It triggers curiosity. It keeps her engaged. It gives her something to invest in emotionally. Instead of feeling like everything was just handed to her on a silver platter. And here's where most guys misunderstand. Emotional challenge is not emotional distance. You're not being cold, you're just being intentional. When she asks about something personal, you can share a little, but you don't need to pour the whole story out in one breath. Let her ask more, let her lean in. That act alone, her doing the work to get closer, is what creates the emotional glue. And when she finally gets access to those deeper parts of you, it means something. She earned it. That's what makes the connection feel real. Because no woman values what comes too easy. Not when it comes to your heart. A5, subtle dominance in presence. Energy speaks louder than words. Here's what most men completely overlook. Your energy walks into the room before you do. You could say all the right words, dress in the cleanest fit, and even have a killer smile. But if your presence doesn't carry a certain weight, she feels it instantly. And I don't mean being loud or trying to dominate conversations. In fact, it's usually the opposite. Subtle dominance is about calm command. It's the way you hold eye contact without flinching. the way you take your time when you speak, the way you move with quiet certainty, not needing to prove yourself. That kind of presence hits on a primal level because women are extremely sensitive to vibe. They pick up on tension, nervous energy, insecurity, not just consciously, but physiologically. Her body will respond to your energy before her mind ever has time to analyze it. This is where true masculine energy lives, not in shouting, but in stillness. There's a gravity to men who are grounded in themselves. They don't fidget, they don't chase attention. They're not trying to entertain their way into her affection. They simply are. And that being creates more pull than any pickup line ever could. It's why some guys walk into a room and instantly command curiosity. Not because they're flashy, but because they're centered. They're fully present, and presence, more than anything, is power. When a woman is around that, she relaxes, she trusts it. She wants to be near it because in a world full of overstimulated, hyperreactive men, the one who can sit in silence and still radiate confidence becomes a magnet. Think of it this way. Dominance isn't about volume. It's about resonance. Your energy doesn't need to say, "Look at me." It needs to say, "I'm here and I'm not going anywhere." That kind of presence creates safety and arousal because it signals to her nervous system that you're in control of yourself and therefore of your environment. And in that quiet control, in that subtle strength, is where her feminine energy naturally wants to soften. Not because you forced it, but because you didn't have to. That's the difference. That's the power of subtle dominance. The kind that doesn't raise its voice, but still gets heard. 6, the depth of vision. She wants to feel you have a mission. A man with money might catch her eye, but a man with vision captures her soul. Because deep down, every high-value woman wants to feel like she's aligning her life with someone who's going somewhere. She doesn't just want to tag along, not just hear about your 5-year plan. She wants to be inspired. When she asks, she wants to feel
This isn't
your
about
direction.
being some super high-achieving entrepreneur.
Your ambition, your mission, or having every step figured out. It's about having purpose, something that lights you up from within. That kind of energy is contagious. When a man speaks about what drives him, whether it's building something, creating, protecting, healing, leading, there's a fire in his voice that no amount of cash can replicate. And that fire, that's what makes her lean in and think, okay, this guy's different. Women are intuitive about energy. And when they sense that a man is wandering through life aimlessly, chasing distractions or comfort, they lose interest even if he's financially successful. Because money can provide ease, but it doesn't offer direction. What she's really looking for is alignment. With a man who knows who he is, becoming a man whose life has a shape to it. When you speak with clarity about your goals, not as a performance, but because you've wrestled with who you are and where you're headed, that self-awareness is wildly attractive. It grounds you, it shows her that you're not seeking meaning through her, but rather with her you're not hoping. She gives your life a sense of purpose. You've already got it, and now she gets to be part of it. Not the source of it. This is the man who wakes up with intention. Even if he doesn't have the results yet. He's moving, he's building, he's stretching, and that momentum creates a gravitational pull. When a woman sees that your life has depth, that you're loyal to a purpose greater than comfort, she sees something safe and something exciting. She knows that even when life gets hard, you won't fold because you're not just chasing a lifestyle. You're embodying a mission, and being with a man like that It gives her something far more powerful than security. It gives her a reason to believe. Conclusion. So here's what it really comes down to. Yes, money has its place. It can open doors, create comfort, maybe even impress at first glance. But none of that lasts if the deeper cravings go unmet. The truth is, women crave presence, depth, emotional challenge, safety, and the energy of a man who's rooted in something real. That's what makes her feel chosen, not bought. And here's the twist. When you become that man, when you stop chasing approval and start embodying these traits, money often follows because you're not living small anymore. You're building something with or without her. And that kind of momentum changes everything. Your relationships, your purpose, your confidence. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these hit you the hardest? Which one made you go, damn, I've been getting that part wrong? Drop it in the comments. This channel is full of men doing the real work. And you're not alone in it. And if this video gave you clarity or shifted something in how you see yourself, or women, do me a favor. Hit that like button so more people see this and subscribe. If you're building yourself into the kind of man who doesn't just get attention, but earns respect, love, and loyalty. We've got more coming that goes even deeper. I'll see you in the next one.